Now let's get updates from Ambassador Aileen Mendoza from the Philippine Embassy to Israel. Good evening to you and welcome to the big story, Madam Ambassador. Tell us the situation in Israel as of this moment.
Good evening, Seth, Sean, Pauline, ladies. Tonight, it's still in the afternoon here in Israel. Very early this morning, we actually had a missile attack where one of the buildings, it's a hotel in the central part of Tel Aviv, was hit, and there were 18 Filipinos who were actually affected by the explosion of the hotel. Luckily, all 18 are okay. It was a good thing that one of our kababayans who actually had the presence of mind to close the door of the bomb shelter. Had it not been for her, we would. I don't know the situation of the 18 had it not been for her presence of mind in closing the door. So very early, just this afternoon, we actually visited these 18 people, and they're all unscathed. No injuries whatsoever. It's just that they're suffering from trauma because of the huge impact of the missile attack on their own particular building.
Are they workers, Ambassador, workers in the hotel, or are they like maybe pilgrims or
This particular case, they're all hotel workers. So they were just staying in the hotel where they actually work. So when we visited them, their employer actually assigned them to another hotel. So they're resting. And we had a very candid conversation with them. And they told us about how it happened and how they felt. It was just heart-rending when you hear the person who actually closed the door, when she explained that it's like the shockwave hitting her body. It's like a ball. She said she felt like a ball being tossed up and then down. That was how she felt, and she was the one who literally closed the door. And I told her, had it not been for you, you actually saved the lives, no? But it shows actually in that conversation, and even in the greater, it was a group discussion. It was a group session where embassy personnel, including DMW, OWA, and the DFA team, met with these 18 people. And it was actually a conversation where we felt that the need for trauma consultations, social services are very much needed for affected Filipinos. This is something new, totally new. And some of these hotel workers have been present since October 7, and many of them are saying this is really different.
I hope they won't be put to work immediately by their employer.
That was exactly the point, and I had that conversation with the hotel manager. Because their original plan was to get them to work tomorrow, and I said that's impossible. And I said, for example, if it was you in the same case, would you go back to work tomorrow? And that was my question. So she relented and she gave a few more days reprieve for our kababayans.
You do have a heavy responsibility there, Ambassador, given the situation. How about the others who were reported to have been injured? Can you give us an update on their condition?
Thank you, Seth. This morning, I actually visited one critical case. It's in Rehovot, and the hotel that I visited is one of the best hospitals for trauma care. And this particular kababayan, she's also an OFW. She's over 40 years old. She has her sister, and her sister was actually present when we visited her. And she's strapped in the most high-tech equipment that you can imagine, because her lungs actually gave out. No, the right lung is not functioning. So she's her life is being sustained by a certain machine that pumps in air into her bloodstream. No, so what was very important is that her situation is very critical. She's being monitored very carefully because she cannot have surgery until such time that they are able to fully stabilize her. And it's the doctors are saying that if her response to the treatment that they're providing will continue, there's a big likelihood that they will be able to do a surgery on her tomorrow. So we were assured by the hospital management, the hospital administration, that they're fully on top of this patient. And when the her sister was asking about the cost of the surgery and her hospitalization, the doctor who was in charge of the case, a top doctor, she said, uh, "Don't worry about this one." So it's such a big relief on the part of her sister, no, that they don't need to worry about the cost of the hospitalization.
Well, Ambassador, Israel is home to about 30,000 Filipinos. How many of our kababayans have already requested to be repatriated? And with how alarming and dangerous the missile attacks have been getting, is it still voluntary? Is evacuation still voluntary at this point, or dapat mandatory na po?
If you recall, since the October 7 attack happened, we have been implementing a voluntary repatriation program. And from October 7 until July 12, we repatriated 1,333 Filipinos. Now, since June 13 until now, our current figure says that we've received 24 phone calls about possibility of repatriation, 24 phone calls. And out of these 24 phone calls, only 15 have truly decided to go back home. On the mass repatriation that you're saying is that I'm in touch with the rest of the migrant sending ambassadors here in Tel Aviv, and we've been discussing the possibility, or if they're planning of possible mass evacuation of their own people, and across the board, and they have more nationals here in Israel than Philippines. They said that they are at this point they're not planning to do any evacuation.
But there is a plan in place. I believe when this started brewing last week, the president already ordered that everything has to be laid out just in case you have to trigger na go na.
Yes, we are always ready to do a mass evacuation, but the main consideration at this point is that the airport of Israel is it's closed. The airspace is totally closed because we don't know at which time Iran may decide to send their missiles. So that's one main considerations that we have to consider. Even the coastline, because we were even thinking about chartering ships, for example. So the ports are targets, main targets. You mentioned a while ago in the report that Haifa, being a port, was one of the targets actually last night. We cannot possibly consider using the established ports of Israel. So the only possibility are land crossings, which is via Jordan and via Egypt. Egypt, if you consider Tel Aviv, for example, it's quite far if we have to motor our people there. So we have to consider also the difficult situation, and we have to find that window of opportunity to rush them to the Jordanian border.
Ambassador,
And
is
for-
about your office, the Philippine Embassy there in Tel Aviv. Are the doors open for any Filipinos who might need help in case their homes are no longer around? Can they go to you and to your office and seek shelter there, perhaps?
Actually, the embassy is functioning 24/7 now. We are here. We are actually staying at the embassy full time in order to provide services to the kababayans. We are not providing the regular consular services because we want to focus all of our efforts in assisting the community. Now, in terms of shelter, the BMW has a temporary shelter here in Tel Aviv, and it has a capacity of 30. So this is a possibility. We do get phone calls from our kababayans that need to stay. For example, they happen to be in the place and then there's the alarm. So they can shelter in the temporary shelter that the DMW operates. But here in Israel, I have to inform you that all buildings must have bomb shelters. For those very, very old buildings that actually do not have the bomb shelters, you can find them nearby. Either in underground parkings or even in parks where there are entranceways that take them to the basement, and this serve as bomb shelters. So, but what is crucial actually to ensure that people will not become casualties is that they have to abide by the home front command This is an application of the Israeli government that sends out notices on their phones. Right now, the notice is like 15 minutes to 20 minutes before an attack happens. A message is sent, and it tells you go to a nearby shelter. So it's a clear instruction. It goes off whenever they detect that a projectile is being launched. It's informed that they have to go to a nearby shelter, and then the next information will tell you that you have to enter the shelter. So when you are informed that you have to enter a shelter, that's usually about a minute and a half. So once you're inside the shelter, you have to remain in the shelter until again the app tells you, the home front command tells you, now it's safe to go out. So all of these processes is very crucial. It's the only way to save a life. No, if you follow this protocol, life will be safe.
Ambassador, with Israel now under a nationwide state of emergency, are there still enough supplies, food, water, even communication lines? Until when will these resources last?
Since we went out today, no, so I can see, of course, internet, the telephone system, they're working perfectly. That's not a problem. No breakdown in the services in terms of internet and connectivity, basically. Now I see restaurants being open actually, and of course we have something like 7-Eleven here in Israel. So you can buy your daily necessities, and the window of opportunity to do this is basically when the home front command says, you can go out. It's like life again. It's business as usual. It's time to take a breath of fresh air, basically.
And all Filipinos who are there, the 30,000, know this protocol and are abiding by it. This is your advice to them?
Yes, actually, they know this, but I keep on reinforcing it. The embassy keeps on reinforcing it. We had a meeting with the community leaders on June 13. Actually, we had over 130 plus community leaders, and it was something that we were drilling down on them. But we did not stop with that. We post it on our Facebook, and then each time we get news that there will be a projectile being launched in Israel, we sent the information immediately to our different chat groups so that we reinforce the messaging. It's not just relying on the home front command, but we send messages through WhatsApp.
Okay, and just going back to the first question we talked about earlier, we heard you told us about the 18 hotel workers who were affected today, and of course that critical patient. How many others have been affected? Are we getting it right? There's about 3 or 4 more injured Filipinos?
If you go by, I will term it loosely medical case. No, we have 9 medical cases.
Okay.
So of the 9, 2 is a mother and child. She was born prematurely, so they're out already. They're fine. So you take them out. So we're left with 7. This 7 incurred various stages of injuries, some very minor that they're easily discharged. 3 actually are that really needed medical care, bandaging, those things. So, but 2 are the ones that we are closely monitoring. 1 is the one that I just mentioned to you, that on life-saving support equipment. The other one is she seems okay. She's already, she can speak already. No, it's just that post her recovery, her quality of life might change. She might be, we don't know which physical mobility, if she will be fully mobile following this, because she has to undergo, we don't know yet, maybe therapy. We're not sure. No, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. But her hand was one of her hand was fractured. No, her arm was fractured. So don't know how mobile she will be after this.
And Ambassador, for the families and relatives of those who are there in Israel, yung mga nandito po sa Manila o sa Pilipinas, how can they contact the Philippine Embassy in Israel to seek an update on how their families are doing?
Okay, as I mentioned, the internet connection here, the telephone system, is all working perfectly. So our kababayans in the Philippines can contact their relative directly. However, I'd like to say here online our hotline numbers, if you will allow me.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. So our 24/7 hotline emergency number is plus 972-54-466-1188. And our assistance to nationals number is plus 972-50-911-4017. Then we also have our Facebook Messenger, PH in Israel. Our Messenger, our Facebook, we're all responding to this. Like I said, our people are here. We're working 24/7. So we have a mechanism where we centralize all the queries, so we can filter out the different questions and the different information, so we can fact check them also. And then we can also, with the information that we're getting, we're sending out response teams to go to certain areas to validate and to help kababayans.
Okay. And last question for me, Ambassador. I was wondering, business as usual ba dyan sa Tel Aviv? As far as you know, like some of the OFWs, do they still have to report to work? Even like those of other nationalities. What's the deal when in times like this? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Majority of our kababayans here are caregivers, so they mostly live with their employers. So I should say it's business as usual for them because they have to work. But those that are working, for example, in hotels, they also have to work because for some reason there's also a deluge of hotel guests, mainly because some of them are affected, no? So they have to seek shelter also. So that's why our hotel workers were being asked to work na because they don't have the staff. But work is there's no work, there's no school, public gatherings are not allowed. People are just staying put and just wandering very near where they live, just to take a breather or so. So in that case, in that way, you cannot really say it's business as usual. It's different. Now it's different from July 12.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, Ambassador, we thank you so much for your time. You and our kababayans there do keep safe. That was
Thank you very much.
Ambassador Aileen Mendiola of the Philippine Embassy to Israel.